I guess you could say it all started right here, on this very couch, in a cramped, tiny apartment on top of and on the wrong side of the railroad tracks. I was set to engage with this new piece of technology, a Zenith Color TV without a remote control. On TV that day, the Ice Bowl. The game went on to foreshadow NFL history, sports television history, and my own personal history as well. It was the last day of 1967. When I plopped down on the couch that day, I was joined by my father. It was the first time I could remember actually hanging out with him. We brushed up, shared a blanket, ate a meal from the same plate, and we talked about everything. I became a lifelong Packer fan that day. A lot of our dialogue revolved around TV and sports. He told me the best job you could have is to get paid to watch a football game. I knew I was watching a classic football game that day, but it took me a lifetime to realize that I was really watching a parable playing itself out through the allegory of television. It goes something like this. Regardless of the distance between father and son, there will always be a common ground that forges a journey of aspiration and expectation. The thrust includes a trust and risk, encountering obstacles designed to strengthen resolve, all for the purpose of achieving a goal. They say all glory is fleeting. Relationships are forged in defining moments, but endure through perseverance. Bart Starr was the MVP of the game. He appeared on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. The next week, the Packers would win their second straight Super Bowl. It was the last victory Starr and Lombardi would share together. As for my father, when the game ended, he kissed my head and left. I wouldn't see him again for another couple of years. My father was back in our lives by the summer of 1971, but a lot had changed within our family and throughout society. It was still a time where you got your headlines from the local newsstand, but all that was about to change. Our family was in the city to see the taping of an iconic television program. When we walked into Studio 6A, it was full of energy and movement. It was cold and loud. It was pure excitement and anticipation. I sat next to my father, and he put his hand on my inner forearm. It felt like we were alone in a crowd. The conversation again moved to TV production and the excitement of a job that pays you to make television. But mostly, it felt like the day we watched the Ice Bowl, something I call an Ice Bowl moment. And then Johnny came out. It was like watching royalty. His guests were comedian Albert Brooks, author Truman Capote, actress Louise Lasseter, and the cast of Godspell performed the hit song of the summer, Day by Day. Day by day, oh dear Lord. Sons very rarely learn by lesson plan from the father. Instead, they find direction from observation and behavior. A touch here, a shared thought there, all plant the seeds of self-aspiration. Especially in a lineage marred by separation and self-preservation. Anastasios John Gionis was born in Providence, Rhode Island. His name was recorded as Ernest J. Gionis. I don't know what people actually called him. By age 10, he was on his own. He had no known address. His family was separated. He was not enrolled in school. The Great Depression surged to its summit. It prompted the genesis of his nomadic lifestyle. Not a picture exists of him as a teenager. His love and scholarly command of glossa, tongue, languages, linguistics, words in particular, in both Greek and English, sustained him. Throughout his life, he routinely finished the New York Times crossword puzzle in ink, and he'd tell you he used a pen because he didn't have his typewriter with him. His last act on the face of this earth was finishing the Miami Herald crossword puzzle, in ink, before suffering a massive heart attack. At age 20, he was detached, drafted, and rebranded. His draft notice was addressed to Ernest, but he enlisted as Anastasios. He no longer was Ernest from Providence. He was now Tasso from Church Street, Lynn, Massachusetts. My father would go on to endure more failure than success, more isolation than happiness, had turmoil, not tranquility, faced doubt rather than security. Yet, like any father who loves, he had keen and unique insight into his sons. It was hardly spoken, but always felt, and his was spot on. He sired every man's greatest accomplishment, the love and acceptance of family. He guided me to my path. I could not imagine doing anything else with my life. But I never thanked him for any of it, because I was keeping the scorecard all wrong. For me, the components that create darkness are incapable of fading, but they can be extracted through the shine of light. After the Carson taping, we remained intermittent throughout our lives, mostly at family and milestone events. He loved his joke of getting a t-shirt for funerals that read, "I'm next," meaning he's the next to go. He was so witty, so self-aware, so smart, so funny. The Carson taping was the last ice bowl moment we shared.
There's a certain togetherness here. There has to be a great deal of love for each other.
I want them to give 100% on every play.